Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. This is the first three-man podcast, so here we go. Welcome to the show,
Mhm.
guys.
Thank you. His idea,
So,
though.
yeah, it was Old Self's idea to do this. So, what are some things that you guys believe about the world, and why do you believe them?
Some things I believe about the world, and why do I believe them? I believe the world can always become a better place for the simple fact of we have seen it plenty of times. I mean, we all like it's a woke stage, right? It's a woke, like a lot of people are woke, but we make the world seem like such a bad place when actually if you look at the world 30 years ago and you look at it now, it's a way better place than what it was politically, a lot of things like that. But as far as the mental health of teenagers, that's way worse. But if you look at the world in general and the world as a whole, it improved a lot actually.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Old Self?
For like me personally, I used to answer some questions about, globally and stuff like that, talk about the world itself. But right now, my perspective on everything is just about the individual really just changing himself and doing what he can for himself, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I posted this on my story on Instagram. I was like, the best thing you can do for the world is take care of yourself, you
Yeah,
know? Because you can't be a hypocrite. You can't be a hypocrite. You can't say something and not do it. So you take care of yourself and then you give the knowledge about what you did for yourself. You helping the world in itself. If people see you improving your life, you're going to help them anyways. It's not about what you say sometimes. It's just about your presence that's inspiring sometimes.
right. It's like last year, like at the age of 14, when I was really big on making videos at the time when I had that global, I guess that global mindset where everybody needs to come together and unify and make a change. But I guess
Mhm.
later on in life, when I started going through certain stuff and started learning about different philosophies, I realized individualism is really important and that it is okay to be associated with people now and then, but at the core of it all, it's always going to be up to you and your choice and your decision. So that's most important.
Yeah, I mean, it really is about developing yourself because it's how can you really make an impact on other people if you haven't gotten yourself to a positive and a better place? Like if you're that guy that's negative all the time and bringing everyone down, it's like you're not bringing any value. So once you take the steps to make yourself better, you're going to in turn make the whole world a better place. Everyone that you encounter, you'll be able to make people's day, share new knowledge with them, etc.
Individualism is very important, but also it's in our natural being to want to connect with others. Like we supposed to take care of ourselves, but we can use people to cope, just like we use drugs to cope. Because if you use a drug to cope, then your body not gonna know how to cope on its own. So if you use people to cope, then you're not gonna know how to cope on your own without people. So we need to find balance in this world in the sense of learn how to be by yourself, love yourself. And I can say these things, but it's harder than I'm making it seem like it
Yeah.
is. But
It's kind of like two guns on both sides, the way I look at it. Uh,
yeah,
you stay to yourself too much, you're going to be socially awkward. You be too much with other people, you ain't going to want to be alone. So it's like,
yeah, you're gonna become
yeah,
too
keep the balance
codependent.
between it and like doing that and then talk to people and also enjoy your own company.
Exactly, it's that balance. It's hard to find balance though. It's actually very hard. It's harder than we
Yeah.
make it seem like. It's very hard. It's something you need to learn on your own though. Like some people, you can give somebody the best advice ever, but some people just need to learn on their own certain things that only that individual could learn for theirself.
Right. It's like that one friend that you have that you know his girlfriend is like really bad for him. She's really toxic, and you're like, bro, she's so toxic. You got to get out of this bubble, and you just tell them everything. They don't listen. But once the final straw hits and she does something that bad, then he'll finally see, oh, okay, maybe this isn't really working. But he has to
Yeah,
figure that out for himself.
some people just need to learn on their own, bro. And you can't force people. Like I saw this video on Instagram. It was like once the universe give you the glasses of truth and like you see things for what they are, you can never take the glasses off, and you can never share the glasses with somebody else. So once you learn truth, once you know knowledge, and once you got something that another person don't got, you can't force them to learn it. If they meant to learn that, they gonna learn it anyways. You know what I mean? You can never force knowledge. You can't force anything really. You know? If you do, it's gonna
Yeah.
go bad.
And I know at the beginning of my journey it was difficult for me because I was learning all this new stuff and I wanted to share it for people. And people I was close with and my friends, and when they wouldn't really accept that or just really listen to it, it's like I found a little insecurity in myself in that, and like, oh well, why don't they want to listen to me? But you just have to understand that everyone's on their own journey, and if people want to listen, great. If they don't, then they don't. Everyone's on a different path. Everyone's living their life differently. You just gotta accept that.
One thing about the journey is you're gonna fall and you're gonna be lonely. When you walking down your path, you will get lonely. It's inevitable. You know what I mean? Especially you walking down a path that's like spirituality, philosophy, thinking outside of the box. You think differently than everybody else. You gonna be lonely. It don't matter. Like it's gonna happen. You just need to realize who you are on a deep level, and you realize, for right now I feel lonely. Right now I feel alone. But this is all for a reason.
It's
The
like,
most.
are you saying that like just for the people who are woke, or you just saying it for the like? Hold on, let me reset. Are you just saying it for the people who are woke? That's the question.
Am I just saying it for the people? I mean,
Yeah, that you're gonna
mostly
feel
people.
lonely.
From what I see, from what I observe about myself and others, most people who are woke and philosophical, they feel lonely the most. But if people are not on that level, they might feel lonely too. So they might can take the knowledge and internalize it. Either way.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. From personal experience, feeling lonely when you begin to learn certain things. But I feel like loneliness, depression, sadness, all that stuff is just general. And I feel like it don't really take a higher mind just to feel something low. Anybody can feel
True.
it. It all depends what you go through.
Exactly.
I
But
see it around me. People simply from working a job or simply doing a task that they don't like, that can cause a human being to go through mental problems.
that's very true. But speaking on the spiritual level, if you are a person with a mind that nobody around you have, right? So your parents don't have your mindset, your brother don't have your mindset, your little sister don't have your mindset, your uncle, your grandma, nobody have your mindset. Now, if we speaking on a regular person, right, who has no knowledge of this, they just live their life and they get lonely. If they get lonely, they can have a conversation to their parents or to their brother on why they're lonely. But if a person who is philosophical and spiritual get lonely, they can't because they mind are so different to the point where they just won't understand them. That's why I was speaking on
I feel
like.
like a person, when he get to that point, he or she get to that point,
Mhm.
they gotta learn how to step outside of their head just to
Mhm.
continue the evolution of their own mind. Uh, I used to, kind of always think that nobody know what I know. So I eventually just started talking to these people, even though they might not know some stuff that I don't, that I know, but they know the stuff that happened and occurred in the world.
That's true.
So nobody is like truly ignorant as I guess the quote unquote woke people may seem it to be. They're
That's
not
true.
ignorant. All it takes is a conversation
That's
to
true.
talk about
People be
something.
smarter than we give them credit. Like we can't underestimate
Yeah.
people. I learned that too. Like people be way smarter than we give them credit. That's very true.
All
They
right.
don't
I
be
used to
stupid. They don't
like
be oblivious.
about the parents thing, my parents got some age on them. They ain't too old. But I used to always think like I wasn't here at the time. Y'all didn't see that all firsthand with the experience. So I know ain't nobody walking the face of the earth that ignorant of not knowing what's going on. So
That's
I
true.
just feel like, far as with the parents, they just don't make it as public to the children, you know, to give them a better world to live in, to give them a paradise.
Hmm.
It's understandable, but nobody's entirely ignorant.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, I think existence. I think we talked about this once before, and like some people that like quote themselves as spiritual or philosophical or get into this really deep stuff. They kind of start to get this perception of that they're so much better than everyone else. Like
Hmm.
it's like you can understand to a degree that certain people like aren't aware of certain stuff the government is doing and stuff like that, and you could be like, all right, well they don't have that knowledge, and okay, but if you outright just believe you're like a god and you're the ultimate person, everyone else is like below you, it's like, are you really developing yourself spiritually and philosophically if you think that about everyone? And it's like, I don't know, what's your take on that?
The ego is like the devil, bro. It can deceive you. So you think you evolving, but really you just using your ego to overpower somebody. But the smartest, like, despite all the woke stuff, despite all knowing all the knowledge, bro, the smartest thing you can do is know nothing, which is impossible. But I always use the example as a baby. The baby know absolutely nothing at all, but the baby is the happiest. How come the baby is the happiest? The baby don't know nothing. I thought when you receive knowledge, you're supposed to be very happy. That's not true. The baby knows nothing, but the baby is just happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like when I was watching that short clip of James Baldwin, he had said, "I'm happy that I know nothing." Because I was trying to, I was getting ideas that really the whole purpose to become enlightened is to later on become ignorant. It's not in the sense of entirely you just losing all your knowledge, But I guess I can say so I won't be try to remember everything that I put, but it's just simply like stepping outside of your mind and gaining new experiences and not continue to repeat the cycle and learn the exact same things. Step into a reality that's unknown.
I
That's
mean,
true.
that's why people say ignorance is bliss. It's like, if you don't know anything that's going on, it's like, how can you be afraid of it, or how can you worry about this if you don't even have a perception of what's going on? And I think, like, with the subconscious mind and with everything that's going on in the background of our life that we're not aware of, what the things that we choose to worry about, it's like, if we knew every single little thing that was going on in existence and in this universe, we would lose our shit. But we don't have all those perceptions, so we're worrying about the really small things where it's in the grand scheme of things, it's like, why even worry about that? All this stuff is out there, and it's like, thank God we don't even perceive all of that.
That's you know something I learned though. Without memory, we cease to exist. So the only reason we feel pain is because we remember that pain. Like it was this episode on The Flash, right? Now The Flash has been through a lot. His mother got killed, his father got killed, all type of stuff, right? It was one episode where he forgot all of that. He got amnesia, and he was happier. He was the most happiest I see him the whole show. So it's like if we don't remember our pain, then is it even really there anymore? So our memory, the attachment to this memory, is why we even feel the pain in the first place. If you don't remember somebody murdered your mama, then will you even feel the pain from it? You know what I mean?
See,
Right.
my first idea of it that you won't feel that pain mentally, you probably feel it physically, but I feel like that dwells into something totally different.
Will you though? Because the body has memory and the mind has memory. What if your body forget and your mind forget everything that ever happened to them? Ever. It wouldn't feel anything. It don't remember. Did it
Mm.
even happen then? If did it even happen if we don't remember? It only happened because your body and your mind remember it.
Right. I mean, that's like the question of, like, all right, if a tree falls in the woods and, like, no one's there to hear it, it's like, does it actually make a sound?
It's like life is constant interaction. So do stuff exist? Like I'm not saying anything, I'm asking the question. Do things exist only because we interact with it? Like if I turn around, now it exists, I turn back around, do it exist anymore? I'm interacting with it through my observation. Life is constant interaction, but me interacting with things could possibly be the reason for anything ever existing ever.
I don't know.
I mean,
First idea
that's
got off that like it to a degree, like maybe not, but I guess if you go into the origins of like human beings and before human beings were here, it was just simply animals and vegetation. So I guess I can say things can exist without interaction.
How do we know that though?
Shit.
Impossible.
No, I can say this. I got another idea. How can we know that? You you 15, right? 15.
Mhm.
You wasn't here. I'm gonna say like reverse your time. You back in your mama belly. You're not interacting with the world. You're just interacting with your mother's vessel.
Mhm.
So once you was born, then you started interacting with the world. But that world was already that foundation was already there before you even came here. So
But that's the thing though.
that'd be
Let
my
me let
shot.
me let me go back to what you said though. You said I was interacting with my mama belly. I don't remember that. So was I? My body or my mind don't remember that. So did it even happen though? That's the
And the
thing.
mind is a
Everything is in the
complex
mind.
thing. And I'm
Yeah.
probably going towards something totally different. I definitely do believe it would be possible to remember such thing, but that is something that you have to figure out with your own head.
Yeah, that's true.
Maximize the human brain's potential.
Memory is everything though at the end of the day. Literally. Literally.
Yeah. I mean,
If I
Well,
forgot
actually, now that I think about it, like maybe because when you pregnant, you get them urges to just constantly consume.
Mhm.
So like if maybe your mother was just constantly eating junk food or oh no, okay, now I remember it. I was watching this video, right?
Mhm.
And it was a mother and a kid, and they were just giving these kids food. Well, they was giving the kids their mother's pregnancy cravings. And one of the mothers had said that he probably remembered this from the womb.
Mhm.
So I was just thinking that maybe like half of the stuff that we eat or something that we really, really, really like could be the reason that we like those things due to the fact that it was given to us when we was in our mother's belly.
That's true. Well, you just debunked my whole theory if that's true. That means the past do exist. I mean everything do exist. It don't matter if you interact with it or not.
yeah.
I
I
try
mean,
to
there's
make that sense.
also like there's the thought about like it's just like that point in your life, like your mind kind of blesses you in a sense with wiping your memory of your birth because that was probably one of the most painful experiences you had about just coming into existence and having all these people touching you and just experiencing senses for the first time. It's like, what is
Uh,
going on?
it's coming to existence. You see doctors with blue gloves on and all type of stuff.
And
That's
you
true.
getting taken away from your mother.
Bro, that's why we don't like doctors because you see it's like that's
But the thing about it is, going back to the memory thing, we all are actors. We all are playing a character. I'm playing my character, existence, old self, Mighty Brad. We all play characters, right? Why should that be different about nature and life in itself? What if soon as we look at something, soon as we interact with something, it plays a character just like we play a character? Like as soon as I look at a tree, it starts to play the character as a tree. But when I'm not interacting with the tree, what is the tree? Is it still even a tree? Or is it an actor just like me? Because we all are playing actors. So what's the true self?
I feel like you can say the tree is playing the character, but you wouldn't know what the tree is playing because you gave it a character by calling it a tree.
Exactly. My interaction is the reason it's a tree. Do it exist without me?
Well, interaction, like what do you mean by the sense of interaction? Are you feeling it? Are you
No,
looking at it a certain way? Are you thinking about it in a certain way?
just observation, just acknowledging it, acknowledging that it's there with my observation or with touch. Either way, I'm still interacting with it in some way.
Mm. So if I'm acknowledging that, like I got this water bottle, like is it a water bottle?
Exactly. You gave it that name in your reality. You gave it everything. You made it exist. You gave it meaning. You
Well, if
gave it
I gave
meaning.
a meaning, not and I wouldn't say far as the tree, I'm the reason that it exists, but
Mhm.
I feel like at that point, it wouldn't really. It goes back to the subjective and objective. You know,
Mhm.
subjective of me just calling it a tree. Objective, it just being what it is. You know, I
Mhm.
touch it, I feel it, I'll go about my day. But
Mhm.
by me being subjective and applying it and internalizing it, and what you said, observing it, I'm basically, like I said before, taking away its essence. I'm not really getting truly to the deep of the core of what it actually is, because it's always going to be what I perceive it to be, and what I perceive it to be is not what it is.
Maybe that maybe can be true.
You never know.
Giving taking away its true essence. You said that to me about the grass. Hmm.
Uh,
That's true. So we basically, you saying us making it a character, making it something, is taking away what it really is.
yeah.
Hmm. That's an
I
interesting.
mean, it also comes that also just asks the question of like, the classic question of are we living in a simulation? It's like, well, the perception of like, oh, maybe we're just in this simulation, our consciousness is just here and we're just aware of this, but above us is like aliens that are observing us and studying us or whatever else might be possible for that. And it's like that's one of those things where it's just like, well, is life a simulation? It's like, well, how could you ever really know?
Hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like, in my personal opinion, what all the people like is life is an illusion, simulation, and the third. First, right now, I wouldn't say I wouldn't think that life is an illusion. I definitely say life is complex. You know, I've been paying attention to earth science, so I definitely say that life that when it comes to life, we live in a portion of it. Because we've been learning about the visible light spectrum. So far as what we see is only a certain amount of light or frequency that we're available to, and the other stuff is invisible. We can't really see,
Can't
or I'm
perceive
gonna
it.
say maybe or maybe not even interact with it. Well, actually, we can with technology, but some light spectrum we just cannot see with the naked eye, with the human eye. So I probably say life. We just live in a portion of that life, and all the other light that's around us, we're not able to interact with it. So
Well, going back to the subjective and objective thing, because I used to look at subjective as there is nothing objective, but now that I really dwell on it lately, right? Everything, if you think about it, things are objective. We are just perceiving that objectivity in different ways.
say that
So
one more time.
things are objective. We are just perceiving the objectivity in certain different ways.
Mm.
So the tree is the tree, but we just perceiving that tree in itself. So we are not really, like in my perception, again, we are not really taking away its essence because we are just perceiving its essence in different ways.
Well,
That's the
I'll
way I look at
respond
it.
after. I'm gonna let Brad respond to that, then I'll respond again.
I mean, I don't know where to take that. I mean, that's like, there's just like so many different routes of just like what is possible. It's like, yeah, like I don't really think us perceiving a tree as, all right, this is what a tree does, is really taking away from it. I mean, I guess from science and from studying it, it's like, all right, we can see that it does this. Could it do something else behind the scenes that we can't perceive? Maybe.
Maybe. That's true.
And this me, like if I was to see something, and I just like I don't know what this thing is, but to my understanding from looking at it, I'm gonna call it this. So that just, if anything, that's just gonna make me even more confused because I'm gonna live my life calling it this and that and the third, knowing that it itself didn't tell me that it was that. I wouldn't call if I see a random person on the street, I wouldn't call him John and I don't know his name. Like, why would I call you John if I know your name?
But if you think about it though,
I wouldn't call it a tree if I ain't know it was a tree.
let's
But
say,
been told it was a tree, so I call it a tree.
so we all say that, right? Like nature is alive, right? So if nature didn't want to be called a certain thing, why would it allow us to call it it?
I feel like nature. Why would nature allow us? Nah, I feel like that was just evolution of man
Mm.
beginning to beginning to intellectualize things. Ain't nothing wrong with being an intellectual, but when you apply it to life, it's a totally different thing. You got idea, you know, that's what the mind can accumulate: ideas, thoughts, perceptions, interpretations. But when you live life as a human being with the senses, feeling and stuff like feeling, seeing, hearing, tasting, that and the third, it has nothing to do with what's going on inside of your head. So me personally, I don't know how man's intellect further developed, besides the other conspiracies with aliens genetically mutating, or pineal glands being open, or Eve biting from the apple. As far as that sense, I'm not really sure. But
Mhm.
as far as what I could speak of, that man's intellect has really just made a mess out of the world.
Mm. Interesting. But if we speak, like I believe everything that's alive has some sort of force to it. You know what I mean? Some sort of will. So I believe if we have messed up nature, right, take away its true essence, its true form, I feel like we would know, like it would tell us in some way. It being an alive organism with some sort of consciousness.
But
I
that I
mean,
feel like you got to be on a certain level to even, I guess, spiritually interact with it. Here's what it's saying to you. But I feel like it can really never tell us because we already been told what it is. So
Mm.
anything that's going to try to debate that or take it away, it's going to be, bro, it's going to be a bigger between mental and what reality actually is. And that's where you become entirely confused.
I disagree with that because you said that only applies to people who are closed minded and not open and not open to receive new knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Because a person who is open minded and curious and want to learn, if nature come to it, right, sends us a spiritual message, right? We gonna listen to it. We're not gonna be like, oh no, I've been told this, so this is what it is. No, we are open minded people. All three of us are open minded people. So if nature comes to us and tells us a certain thing, we will listen to it because it's telling us what it is.
Mm.
I mean, I mean, to a degree, it's like I don't know how conscious a tree is, or if it is at all, or other um, aspects of nature. But I mean, maybe a thought is like maybe nature just doesn't care. Like a tree, we call it a tree. It's not actually a tree. It doesn't really care that we call it that. It's like, all right, well, the tree's like, all right, you're a human. You believe what? I don't give a fuck. Like whatever.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
but
I agree
since
with that.
but since we walk around with intellect and philosophies and that and the third, yeah, we don't want to accept that we don't know it. We want to know what it is. So what better to know what it is by calling it something?
Hmm.
Yeah,
It
I
makes no
mean,
sense to just go our whole life entirely ignorant of what we interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Is
So
it?
man have to create a certain foundation for him to live upon. If he don't have a foundation, he's gonna fall off his axis.
But you contradicted yourself a little bit because you said us calling it things and us intellectualizing things is what ruined the world. But you said we can't walk around with ignorance. But we will be ignorant to not call it things. So which one is it?
I gave a different perspective. I wouldn't call it contradictive. I gave a different perspective. First thing came to my head after Brad
Mm.
stop talking.
But what Brad said about the tree, right? He said, why would the tree even care? See, we think it would care because we are humans with an ego and we care. But if we speaking on a spiritual level, the tree is at a high consciousness. It's at a different level. So why would it care? Like, why would it even care? They don't care what we call it. They don't care what we do, bro. It's a tree. It's chilling. It's a tree. It's
Yeah, I
chilling.
mean,
It's like the whole thing is just irrelevant about. I'm not saying our conversation, but y'all know where I'm coming from. It's like the
yeah, I
whole
mean,
conversation what we talking
yeah.
about is just irrelevant. Because the
Exactly.
tree is gonna be a tree. It's gonna do that. It's gonna do what it do, and that and third. At this point, it don't care if you know it or not.
I wouldn't call it irrelevant because we give meaning to things. It's irrelevant or it's relevant. Whatever we think it is, it is. Give meaning
Uh,
to everything.
I
I'll give you a
was
stand
do
though.
we give meaning to things?
Yeah.
What have we gave meaning to?
Life in
uh,
itself. The biggest thing we gave meaning to is money. We created
Give
this
meaning to
currency.
money?
Yes, we created this currency. Not us specifically, but us humans created this currency, gave it a meaning, made it for trade, and gave it a few fancy decorations on there, made a one or a two on there, and said this is everything. When we see money, if $1 million dropped on your floor right now, you know the feeling that you would get. You know how much meaning and energy we put to money. You know the feeling that you would get if you saw all that money on the ground. We
Yeah, I can
give
give me a
so
gym
much meaning to
membership.
money, huh?
I can give me a gym membership. But what is meaning? What is
What is
meaning?
meaning? You said what is meaning?
What is meaning?
What is meaning? It's how we make. It's how we live life as humans. It's what we make of life. You know what I mean? Just
It's
like the
like
tree example, I gave the tree a meaning. I gave money a meaning. It's how we. It's how we make of life. It's how we try to. It's a way humans try to intellectualize, internalize, or understand life.
okay.
I mean, it's just I think it's kind of like whatever our perception of it. So it's like, well, the meaning of this pen is so I can write things down, and it's like and then on a more basic level, the meaning of me eating is so I can survive, and it's
Mhm.
like it's those types of meanings, and then you could get into the question of like, oh well, like does anyone being alive is that meaningful or not? It's like, I mean, I mean on the topic of that, it's like people will kind of have this perception like, oh, I'm like so little in like the universe, and like, yeah, you are, but also like every single decision that you make, every single interaction that you have with nature, with another human being, with anything in life, it's like that has an effect on okay, if on the example of if I sit in my room right now and don't leave my room for the next 50 years, it's like I'm not really going to have much of an effect. But most of us are going out of our houses, and people go to work or people go to different places and interact with different things and different people, and it's like you're making an impact. And sometimes you might give someone a compliment and they visibly you could see that they're happy now, or you made their day, or you don't see that at all but you did, and it's like there's so many things that you do that have an effect that you just don't know they have an effect.
That's true.
Man.
That's very true. But life in itself has no meaning, though. We try to make meaning, but life in itself has no meaning. It just has results. Like you said, we eat, and in result of us eating, we are not hungry no more. But that is not a reason or a meaning for it existing in itself. It's just
Right.
result. It's just a result of something.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just
like
get
since
caught in
we
this cycle.
exist.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Just get caught in this big old cycle of life is this, life is that, and then the third, etc., etc., etc. Then you come across it again. Oh, then it's like this how it is. It's like I learned this. Okay, life is this. I learned this. Nah, that's not life. This is life. So you're just getting this big old cycle. So it's like I'll probably say if you really want to know what life is, you got to live first. I made this quote. I said, I'm trying to remember. I remember the first part. I'm trying to remember the second part. But I said, before you claim what life is, before you say what life is, keep living.
True.
That's it.
One time I said life is just meant to live.
No,
And I hope
I feel
that's
like
true.
the words is not expressing that life meaning is to live. It's expressing that you continue to walk this journey of life, and you get it or you don't. It's not to say this is that and that and the third. Just keep living your life. That's it. There is no meaning.
Like I
Just
just
keep living.
said. It's like I just said. Ain't no meaning. That's true. But in itself,
Yeah.
you call it cycles, right? Like a lot of time we on FaceTime, you said we go down this big cycle.
Yeah,
I
but
wouldn't.
that's
I
what it be
wouldn't.
feeling like. when you look at it and nicely observe it, like you just go down this big cycle. That's why, like, when I was dwelling into Buddhism, it's like right now, like, I haven't dwelled in like recently that much, but just speaking on the cycle of samsara and really just my personal experience of what I be going through at times. Like, at this point, I really do believe that cycle entirely. It's like everything just a constant reoccurrence. And Friedrich Nietzsche even made up what he called the eternal reoccurrence. So it kind of just goes back to the simple words that life is history is repeating itself. So we just going down this constant continuation of not necessarily learning, but actually remembering, and that can be part of, well, the reason why men suffer, because
That's
there
true.
is anything anew. There is life is not an experience. Because I guess you want to talk metaphysically. If I lived before and now I'm living again, this is not an experience. Experience is something that you, I guess, you say experience is something that you never had before. And if I know that I lived before and now I know I'm living again, how is this an experience?
That's
So
not true.
it's just a reoccurrence of my energy, and I have to go through the exact same things that I went through in the past.
An experience doesn't have to be new at all. That's not what experience is. Experience is just experience. It ain't gotta be. It could be new, old, now, whatever. You still experiencing it in a different way. Either way, you are you right now. What if? Okay, let's say you in a different life. You was doing the same thing that you was doing right now, but you wasn't you right now. Still, you still experiencing something new. It's still a whole different life, a whole different mother, father, a
Yeah,
whole different set of thoughts, a whole different set of feelings. It's still something new. Life experience doesn't have to be new. It's just experience. But
yeah.
you are
See,
experiencing
that's
something
not
new.
something I want to live in. Shit, if I gotta do the exact same thing every day, that's a goddamn matrix. I gotta do the
Exactly. I
exact
said
same
that in
thing
my
every day.
video.
That's a matrix. But like I said, I'm speaking metaphysically now. You told us, we got different bodies, different than the third. But what if that my mother was my sister? What if my father was my brother? What if my girlfriend was my daughter? So even though they was given a new vessel, what about that essence that is emitting from that vessel? Even though I can look at them like, oh, this is an entirely different person. But speaking spiritually, I knew this person before. So who am I to be like, you so and so and this and that and the third? That's not you.
But
Speaking
if you
metaphysically though.
if you speaking metaphysically on a soul level, like you basically saying I experienced that soul already, no matter if it's a new vessel or not.
Yeah.
But
And like
but if you
energy, it goes, it's just like the human body. It goes through a cycle of adaptation. It adapts. So if really, I explained this like shit years ago, but it's like I said basically when you die, you don't leave. You don't go to this spiritual realm. You stay here. Especially if you incarnate. You stay here. Your energy is recycled. And this person that you are today is the exact same person that you was in the past. And given the reason why you have a new vessel is due to the fact that energy has to go through a different adaptation depending upon the frequency of your environment, the frequency of that current energy once it's beginning to incarnate, and so on. So anything else that affects it later on as the process of its reincarnation or incarnation continues. So even though my body may be looked at as different, if people was to really dwell into their past lives and find pictures and images, you'll realize that what is the word? There's the similarities between the face structure, bone structure, athletic ability, mental ability. So it's nothing's really entirely different. And that whole image of you separating yourself from who you originally was, that's just really a part of the game for you not to know. And that's not the system or the government doing that. That's you yourself.
that's
Because you
something
yourself, this last thing, you yourself is choosing to be ignorant so you can experience something new. You will always be knowledgeable and conscious, aware of everything. You can never learn anything new because what haven't you learned already?
hmm
So you have to be something different in order to experience something new. If you know everything already, capiche, you're completed. But due to the fact that we're here now, there's something still unfinished. And the ignorant ones know that because they choose not to dwell in the past and go into history. And then the third,
That's really interesting.
that's
I
true.
mean, people say like, it's like how can you live your life based on what everyone else does and expect a different result? It's like, well, of course you're not going to learn anything new and spectacular if you're doing the exact same thing as everyone else. It's like the only way to learn anything new is to have a different experience.
But old self, you said you don't want to live if you experience the same thing every time, and every life you experience the same thing. But it's something else that learning about spirituality that you learn about, and you learn about the cycle. But the cycle is only here because of karma. So you only experiencing the same thing that you experiencing because of karma, because you keep repeating the same negative cycles or the same positive cycles. But everything that you repeat has a return. It comes back to you. That's what you learn in the law of attraction. So the only reason that you might be experiencing the same thing is because you're doing the same thing and it's coming back to you. Like,
I
for
feel like
example, you
my
said,
answer to
hold on,
that,
hold on, hold on,
it would
hold on,
just
hold
be
on, hold on,
who
hold on.
I am.
Hold on. For
Just be who
example,
I
right?
am.
You said my mama could be my sister or whatever, right? But it's a thing called a karmic relationship. So the only reason somebody, let's say you got a girlfriend in the past life, right? And now she your girlfriend in this life, and it's like I already experienced you, but it's like y'all got unfinished business, and life is growth, right? And you can't grow without if you can't grow if you still got unfinished business, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I agree with
you
that part.
grow and you evolve. It's not a cycle, it's just your growth. And the growth can be hard. It can seem like an endless, pointless cycle, but it's karma. You have to grow. You have to go through the pain if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to reach different levels of enlightenment.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could just be what my energy emits and what it attracts. And I guess what it attracts is the people of the past.
Exactly. That's why I said. So
And my
admit.
karma wouldn't be what I have done right and what I have done wrong. My karma is who I am. It's the burden of being you.
Or it's the burden of the actions that you do. You
Which
said it's
comes
the
in.
energy. It says the energy I'm emitting, so emit a different energy.
Uh,
If you keep
I
emitting,
can.
if you keep committing crimes, that's the energy you emitting. You're gonna get crime right back to you in the next life. You're gonna be doing the same thing because you keep
It's a
doing the
lot of
same thing.
levels to things, right?
Hmm.
At each level, you can emit something differently, but at the core of it all, it's still that little speck.
Speck of
It's
what?
just that the field around you is different.
Hmm.
But you inside of that field, still that small little speck.
Speck of what?
Ain't nothing really changed about you.
The speck of what though?
What I just called it that.
What is it though? You can't just
Soul
say that.
body, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it your true self. It's that small speck.
But you listen to Buddha teachings, and if you do listen to Buddha teachings, you realize that there is no true self. We are constantly transforming and transmuting.
We both wrong. If I was to say anything about self and you was to say anything about self, even by it being not self, we're both wrong. It's better to be silent when we're talking about that teaching.
How we both
Nothing to say.
wrong if you said we wrong and I didn't, so how we both wrong if we got different perceptions on
And the Buddhist, we brought Buddhism up. I'm saying we're
it?
both wrong. Talk about teaching no self. But I was giving you a description of self. That was me person. That was my personal description. I wasn't speaking about the teachings of Buddhism. But
Mm-hmm.
when you addressed it, I gave you my point of view of speaking about the no self. Because
Yeah,
you can't really explain, like, how can you give a complete description of something that's really nothing and
exactly.
not be, I can say, limited by your own ideas and
Yeah,
to be counteracted by the teaching itself.
that's true.
So
Yeah.
it's better to say nothing at that point.
I mean,
But
I
we,
mean, in terms of the little speck thing of like your real self, it's like, is your real self just like the energy? Because in terms of like your real self, in terms of you like doing this, you like doing this action, it's like, well, that can change. It's like, you can come from like you could live your life in a completely negative light and have all these addictions and everything, and then come out of that and live a more positive experience and have all these, and then your life just be completely different in the same lifetime. And it's like, well, which one of those is your true self?
hmm
Yep. I changed my name to OldSelf because I guess I figured that your old self was your true self.
Mm,
That just, that philosophy might change later on in life. But as I continue to, the way I looked at it though, that I figure like this person that I am today is an image. And the only reason I created such of an image just to get me through the hard times that is a that will come to me in the future. And I
hmm
guess I can say my old self, my inner self, my true self since that. So it's either I guess I can say I wasn't strong enough. My old self wasn't strong enough. So in order for me just to continue throughout my life and face some hardships with a better mentality, I will have to create a different. I will have to create a persona that can handle that, and that persona is who I am today. And then I guess I can say once I reach the settle down phase, my old self can begin to shed its image and emit its light. It
Really,
just, I'm being guided by this individual thought, old self, spiritual tail. I'm being guided by him. My old self is just, it's like we're pregnant. You know, my old self is still in here. He's growing. And I got this new self. So once this new self dissipates, then my old self can finally return and be a better
really
person.
think about the self though. We know the truth about self. Really think about the self. What is self? Because you cannot be a permanent anything forever. There is no little speck. There is no, because you can't be it forever. You can never be anything forever. A seed cannot be a seed forever. A tree cannot be a tree forever. I can't be existence forever. That this card right here, this tarot card, can't be this tarot card forever. This podcast can't go on forever. This rock can't be it forever. Like there is no self, there is no spec because it's constantly changing and transmuting and transforming into different forms of life. You know what I mean? Or death.
Who knows?
You know though, because you can never be anything permanent.
Who knows?
Right. Everything's always changing. And then that's the question. It's like, well, is change bad or is it good? And it's like, there are certain things that we perceive as good change, really good change, or is it just change?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I asked a friend, I'm like, if I'm spirit, body, mind, I'm all this other stuff. I'm like, who am I at this point? Like, I don't know which one. It's kind of like I was watching Naruto earlier, and not first time, by the way, it was better than Baki. I had to address that. But I was watching Naruto. You know, Naruto, he be doing Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's kind of just like that. It's like you got all these different hues and all these different formations of what your energy can turn into, and you just get to the point where you just lost in the clone, and the real self is now a part of that.
Mhm.
So you slowly dissipate as you expand.
Yeah, and there's also, I guess, there's so many different possibilities of who you could turn out to be in this lifetime. Like, if this certain experience happens to you, you could perceive it this way. But if you perceived it this way, then your mindset would change, and then you would choose to do different things with you in your day to day life. And it's just this cycle of big and small things changing who you are. And it's like, who's to say that, you know, me being me now, it's like, I could go on one day to, I don't know, be a murderer or something. It's like you can't perceive what change in your life could just shift your entire mind and then have you do something like that. It's like we of course we wouldn't perceive that. Like right now it's like, oh, I'd never do such a thing. But it's like, how do you really know?
And the thing about humans, bro, is like we don't know our potential in this present moment. We have a certain set of beliefs, we have a certain mindset that we have obtained, but we don't understand our potential. You don't know what you can be in the future. Like a seed. If you think about a seed, say a seed is a human. A seed is a seed. It don't know. It don't know it can grow into a 50-foot tall tree. A seed would never expect that. You do not know who you can be, the things you will accomplish, the way you will grow, the way you will evolve, or the way you would evolve. So our potential is insane. And we should all be excited to figure out and like grow into our potential because it's big, bro, and we can be amazing things, but we just have
Yeah,
to make the right decisions in the present moment. Our potential is crazy.
just gotta work hard, find something that you're passionate about, and just continue to do it. Pour your
Exactly,
all into it, sweat and blood. And
exactly. You
for
don't know your
me,
potential, bro. Like, exactly. Like honestly, bro, like your potential is crazy. Mighty Brad, this video can get 50 million views. You don't know. Potential is crazy. Like you don't know what your potential is. You don't know what can happen. Like you
yeah,
never know. It's crazy.
Right. And it's also at like what time you decide to do this or post this thing or take this action or change your life. It's like that in the grand scheme of things that matters too. It's like if I wanted to do something and I don't know, instead of starting that thing 2 days ago, I started it 5 years ago. It's like, well, where would I be right now? And like, how would my life be different in every single area? It's like, you don't know. It's like that potential is just so many different routes that you can go down that you'll never really know. Like you'll know which one you end up turning out to be once you get to that place. But as of right now, it's like you can have a vision of like, all right, I'm gonna do this in my day in life, so hopefully I can get to this place. But like, you can't envision it to a perfect extent of like this is exactly who I'm going to be. It's like, like I have a vision of who I'm going to be in 5 years, but I could go drive somewhere tonight and then I could get into an accident and I could die. And it's like, well, all right, well now that I don't reach that.
All we know is possible results. Like we know if we put some type of work in, we're gonna get some sort of result. The problem is we try to make out the exact result, and that's what caused the suffering. Because when it don't go the exact way that we expected it to go, then we suffer. Like I put this work in and didn't do that. It did a lot, but you just expected a certain specific result. All we need to know is we're gonna get some type of result from this. That's the only thing we should keep in mind.
I feel like you just really gotta find something that you just really passionate about. Like something you'll realize sacrifice everything just to do it. Somebody will tell you, no, you can't do that, and you're really passionate about it. Then like it's to the point where I don't want to live. You really got like go that deep and be that passionate about something. Take action in it and execute it every single day.
Some of the most passionate people I realize are people who play sports. Like I don't know why people who play sports are so passionate. Like people who are like Kobe Bryant, who be bro. I heard Kobe Bryant, right? I heard he missed a shot, right? He missed a shot because the light flashed in his eye. And I heard a week later he stared at the sun for like 3 hours a day, so he wouldn't miss another shot from the light.
Yeah,
People be that passionate.
You got to be driven.
You got to be what?
You got to be driven.
Yeah, bro. People be passionate, bro.
You gotta be obsessed with him. Tell him.
Yes, like you gotta be like those are the people who gonna get stuff done. Those are people like, bro. All I think about is YouTube, TikTok, posting. That's all I think about 24/7 every day. It's like you gotta be in it. You gotta put your mind and your energy to it. As soon as you put a thought to something, that's when everything starts. Then you put an action to it, you get way more in there now.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that passion of whatever you want, whatever it is for you, it's like, how do you have that idea or start to do it, and then end up taking a different path that you're not passionate about? It's like, how do you live with yourself knowing that you're not doing what you truly want to do with yourself?
Bro, some people get so comfortable, bro. It's like what Taylor said about the shadow clone thing, right? Like if you get caught up in your shadow clone, like you said, so if you get caught up in your lower self and the self that you know you're not comfortable being, you're gonna get lost in that. You're gonna forget, like, dang, this not even me. You're gonna forget it. Like I really wanted to do this, but I got so caught up in working at the store. I work at a roller coaster place now. I forgot that I really wanted to be a golf player. I forgot about that though. We just get lost in our lower self, bro. We don't realize that we have so much potential. That's what we need to realize.
I probably say you just gotta stay out of your head and take action. Exactly. Action is way more important than thinking.
Exactly. Just stay out of your head. You know you got a goal. You know you got a set point of doing something. Go towards it and do it. Stop thinking. You're thinking too much. Thinking is what causes procrastination. You're thinking too much. Just do it. Be in the moment and do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, if you don't take the action, you'll never know what possible results could happen. It's like you might take that action, you might fail at it, or it's something with business and you don't get that client or whatever. But it's like, if you just left it as an idea, you're not going to get a client either way because you didn't even try.
Well, and so it's
yeah. And then once you fail at things, it's like then you get better and you learn things, and then it's a cycle of learning and failing, and then you just get better and better over time, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be.
Bro, I get to a point where like my parents would be like, well, you got a backup plan, right? I'm like, they like, I know you're not gonna fail, but what if? I'm in a mindset of like, what you mean what if? There is no what if. I'm gonna accomplish my dreams and my goals. There is no what if. If you got a what if mindset, if you got a I'm gonna fail, I might can fail, so I'm gonna have a backup plan. Then it's a little part of your mind that know you're gonna fail. And that little part is that backup plan. Don't have a backup plan. Have one goal that you absolutely and utterly know that I will not fail at this. I will succeed at this. This is my passion. This is my dream. You go towards it. There is no backup plan. There is no what if. No, I'm just gonna do it. There is.
Yeah, that can be perceived differently. I definitely do agree with what you said, but it can be perceived differently. My mom even tell me that, always, have a backup plan, have a plan B. And I guess my example of that is like Ice Cube. He was a rapper in the group called NWA, and after he just started, and after he was done rapping, he went towards acting.
But that's
So
not
it's
a
kind of
backup plan, though. That's not a backup
well,
plan.
that's the way I look at it. You know,
That's more
like
of
once he
a
done with something, and ain't no telling he could have further continue to develop his rap skills and stay in the rap game. But I guess I can't really speak for the man, but I don't say this, but I guess he's seen himself in a different light and seen the opportunity with
Nah,
his publicity
that's
from
not a
being in the
that's not
group.
a backup plan though. That's more of a expanding my career plan. He got so successful off of making music, so he expanded his career to making movies and being in TV shows and stuff like that. That's not a backup plan at all. A backup plan is if you fail your first plan and then you go to plan B. Like if he failed
Yeah.
rap, he didn't fail rap though. It wasn't a backup plan. He just was expanding his career.
I'd say have a backup plan.
Why?
I'll probably say have a backup plan.
Why do you
Now,
expect
I
failure
don't feel
though?
like it's a what if mindset. I'm like, okay, if I don't achieve this, and that, and the third, then this gonna happen. I feel like you gotta face reality at times. You know, I know we do get so caught in our passions, and I hope existence don't he text me later told us that was pessimistic.
Nah, I ain't gonna say that.
But I know we get so caught up in our dreams and our goals and what we want to fulfill. But it's like at times in life, it's like the way that all these motivational speakers be depicting success and that and the third. It's like, yeah, it can happen if you really work hard for it. But it's like at the same time, it's that stuff is really, really hard.
Bro, that's why you
It's
work
like
really,
really
really,
hard to
really
do.
hard.
And it's like
But
half of
listen,
the time you oh my God, please don't count me for this. Half of the time you won't succeed at what you were doing. You
it's
won't.
something.
And I feel like
Here we go.
you just at times, bro, you really just gotta face, life's offering. Like you got your offering. It's like you got you got the arrow right here and your arrow right here. But you're here. So it's like at times you just gotta face reality and that's just really simple what it is.
But this the thing with me, right? Most parents, most teachers, most people tell you have a backup plan. But you look at the successful people, like something Lil Wayne said. He said, "Don't have a backup plan. Why would you have a backup plan?" Will I listen to a person who never chased their dreams a day in their life, or will I listen to Lil Wayne, who chased his dream and achieved his dream? Which one will I listen to?
Say it again, sorry, process.
Lil Wayne said, "Don't have a backup plan." But most people, most parents, most teachers who has never followed their dreams or they never even thought of nothing like that tell you to have a backup plan. Which one would I listen to? Which person would I listen to?
I listen to a successful person. But
Exactly.
the way you know how my mind is though. Hold on, I gotta say the other perspective though. I got to. Well, you know how my mind is. I look at stuff in all different types of angles. And I remember what I was about to say. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. I remember, got the bodybuilder Mike Mentor, and he was basically talking about how a lot of the people, a lot of the body. This is like a long time ago, but a lot of the bodybuilders, when it comes to picking trainers, they want to pick a trainer that has the aesthetic that looks really good, but he's not knowledgeable. They don't want to go towards a person who's not really, I could say, aesthetically appeasing, but he can have enough knowledge. So I feel like that's the way I thought of it in this perspective. Like you can be successful, but you really can't lay down the map for me to be successful. And the other person can be, and this other person, they not successful, but they know how to lay the roadmap down to success. Now, far as their success, it's just in their head, but they just haven't taken the action to go toward their success. But if you got everything down pat, are you okay?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
we talking about the people who was in the slumps, like people like Andrew Tate, the famous people like them who was in our position, who tells you no. Why would you have a backup mindset? Work hard towards your dreams and achieve it. I'm gonna listen to them. Why would I listen to grandma who never followed her dreams ever? I could listen to her advice because she got more wisdom than me, of course. But when it comes to things like that, don't have a backup plan. Why would you? Because you setting your mind up for failure. Why would I set my mind set for failure? I won't do that. Only success. That's the only thing I will achieve.
There's a lot of people in the process as well where you can look at people, whether it's in your personal life or online, like you see the growth of like, all right, they're going all in on whatever they're doing. A year ago they were at this place, and now that you see they've made this progress. And I mean, I was talking to, he's not this super successful millionaire yet, but I talked to this guy on the podcast where he started multiple businesses. Some of them went well, some of them failed. But in his mind, like he will not work a 9 to 5. Like no matter, and he's been in debt $15,000. $15,000 in debt to his name, and it's like he's like, no matter what happens, like I am not working a 9 to 5. I will find some way to make the business work, whether it's in this type of business or this type, whatever it is. I'm going to keep exploring and keep trying different things. I like that. He's like, there's no alternative. And then more so in like a personal life aspect, like there's these two brothers that I know a few towns away from me that I've talked to and met up with a few times, and they decided, all right, I don't want to go to college anymore. I don't want to do the normal route, and they started their own social media marketing business. And I've seen them over the past year take different turns, change niches, help these types of clients, help this business, and then shift the industries and stuff. But it's like over the past year of them, like they decided what they're going to do, and it's like, all right, I know I'm going to do this. Now let's figure out how to do it. And there were downfalls and there were ups and downs, but they're figuring out and trying all these different things. And it's like you see the growth that they're making. And it's like, you look at most other people, it's like most people, you look at them a year ago, 5 years ago, it's like, all right, well, it's like you're kind of the same person. It's like nothing really happened. But for those people that really dedicated that to that one thing, it doesn't have to be the business thing and not going to college. It doesn't have to be that. It could be like someone who picks this in college and wants to do this specific job. But it's like the key thing is, the point is, someone decided what they wanted to do and they went at it with everything.
Exactly. Like you said about your friend, he said, I will not work a 9 to 5. I'm not studying for that. The same way of I will not have a plan B. I will not fail. I just won't. Like life gives you failures. Like you gonna fail at things. It was times where my videos, we all fail. Like everybody failed before at what we wanted to do. But the real test that life is giving you is, what will you do with this failure? Will you give up and go to your plan B? Or will you keep trying at it until you achieve your goal? That's the real test in itself.
Yeah.
You want to ask some of the questions that you wrote down?
What do you guys think? What do you think love is?
Love. I think life is love. I don't believe hate.
But hear it. I guess my stuff was lagging.
He said, what do you think love is? I think life is love. I don't believe hate exists. I believe hate is a result of love. Like I gave this example to my friend. I was like, if you catch your girl cheating, right? And if you truly love her, you're going to be in pain. You feeling that pain in result of loving somebody. But if you caught her cheating and you didn't love her or care for her at all, you would feel absolutely nothing from her cheating because you didn't love her. We only feel pain because of love, whether it's the love for ourselves or the love for others. If somebody come to us and slap us in our face, right? We're going to feel offended. We might feel hatred towards that person. But we only feel that because we love ourselves and he crossed our boundaries on ourselves. Nothing sources, if you look deep enough, nothing sources from a hateful source. Everything sourced from some sort of love. You know what I mean? Some sort of love or some sort of pleasure, but some sort of good feeling. Nothing sources from anything negative. That's why I believe life is truly love.
I think life. I said life. I think love. Yeah, I was. I think love is letting go, though. I feel like I'm gonna try to make my answer a really short answer, but I think love is letting go. I feel like it's the moments where, what's a good thing? It's like you got a friend or you got a partner. No, I'm gonna say a friend. I feel like it's better to describe it as a friend. You get a partner, might be word for till your dying days, but you get a good friend. Y'all friends for a long time, hanging out every day, being productive, and then eventually y'all go to college, study what y'all want to study, and then once y'all done with that, go set out for y'all careers. And then I can say at y'all conversation, when y'all conversing with each other, saying what y'all want to do, and realize that your stuff is over there, your stuff is over there. My career may be in Chicago, your career may be in Paris. So I feel like when you get to that point where you just like, it's kind of like with Fast and Furious, when they was both driving the car and they was looking at each other. It's kind of like that point where you get that last glance, that last touch, and like, I see you maybe in the next life, or I see you later on down the road. I feel like that's the unconditional love, being able to let love go.
That's true. It's like loving without having any conditions. Like if this person want to leave and like and something like that, bro, it's like, bro, I gotta let him go. If I truly love that person, I have to let him go. So that's actually very true. It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice for love, man? Because when you get into, trust me, when you get into a romantic relationship, you got to be willing to sacrifice your time. You got to be willing to let that person hurt you. You got to be willing to have many misunderstandings for love, for loving that person, for being in a relationship.
Have you
It's
seen
stress.
Paris?
Yeah, I mean, it's really all. I mean, yeah, it's like the negative experience. Choosing to and being consciously aware that there are going to be many negative experiences, in the hopes that all in all, you guys will love each other and it will be more positive in that sense.
That's true. But love, man, life is beautiful, man. That's all I gotta say. Life is beautiful. Today was a good day. Every weekend is a good day. When I go to school, that's when life be, But on the weekends, bro, life be beautiful. Life be free. It be sunny. I went outside today. I had my fruits, workout. Everything was good. It was raw. Well, I had my fruits. I was watching the Arrow. Ain't nothing else you got to ask for.
What's another question?
Yeah, that's funny, man.
What do you we could finish up soon because I gotta go, but what do you guys think? We're all young men for the most part. What do you think are some focuses that young men should have in their life?
Bro, honestly, I've adapted a very strong mindset. I believe young men should know how to stop complaining about things that they cannot control. Because when we feel, it's like submitting to your mind. You cannot be a slave to your mind. I always say this, bro. I will not allow my mind to slave me. I will not allow my mind to control me. So I feel like a lot of young men to adapt this mindset is like, you feeling a certain emotion, right? Or if something irritates you, right? You start to complain, you start to whine about it. Oh my gosh, this, that. What can you do? Nothing. It's about having the force and the drive to just get up and do what you got to do without no complaints, because it's absolutely nothing you can do about it. The same goes for working out or eating good, You got to just get up and work out, no complaints, because you know you have to do it and you made a promise to yourself to do it. So it's about just doing it. Stop complaining, because it's nothing. I hate when people complain. I do. I don't like when people complain. Like, I don't like it, because it's like, why are you complaining? What can you do? Nothing. So stop complaining and just do what you got to do until it's over, because it will be over. Nothing lasts forever.
What was the question again? Unless it's keep out.
What as a young man, what do you think the kind of key things are to focus on?
Of course, I want to say that's up for you to decide. But since you asked me, I give you my advice. I say, for one, you have a body. For two, you have a mind. And for three, you got a soul, emotions, etc., etc. I'll probably say, do your best every single day to develop all those three things.
Facts. But
that's pretty much it. I don't feel like it goes towards do this, stop doing this, stop doing that. Develop your body. I feel like, for as far as what I've been learning lately, I feel like it's very important for a man to be strong physically and mentally and spiritually. But I probably say develop your body, develop your mind, develop your soul.
Before we end this, I gotta ask all y'all one question. I asked these on my podcast. If y'all can give a message to every single person in this world, what would y'all give it?
If I can give my message to everybody?
Every single person, one message to the world. What would you give it?
Man, in my mind, it'd be a lot of stuff I want to say to
Just
the
one big message that's going to apply to everyday life.
I'd probably say work hard. Anything you want to accomplish, work hard for it every single day, every single second.
That's a good message.
Work hard for it.
What about you?
It's a quote. I don't know who it's by, but fear has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Damn, that quote powerful. What the fuck? That quote powerful. That's true. That's a good message.
Where why don't you guys shout out your socials and where people can check you out?
Well, my Instagram is OldSelf.
My TikTok
and my YouTube, everything is OldSelf.
My TikTok is existence1714. My Instagram is existence1714. My YouTube is existence1714.
All right, sounds good. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.